In this session, we'll learn how to automate the process of naming the design objects created in Civil 3D. Please note that this recording represents part 3 of a 3-part series focused on managing Civil 3D settings. We'll start by taking a look at the objects we have on screen. Right here, I've got an existing ground surface called EG. I also have an alignment called Main Street. Over here, I have another alignment called 2nd Street. As you can see, each of these objects has a unique name. Typically, we name Civil 3D objects like this at the time they are created. For instance, let's say I'd like to create a profile view for 2nd Street. I'll do that here on the Home tab. In the Profile and Section Views panel, I'll click Create Profile View. I will then select my desired alignment, and then I can name the profile view right here. Now, I can drag across this and call the profile view anything I like, or if I click this button, I can name the profile using a template. A name template allows me to incorporate some of my design data into an object's name. That data can be found here in the Property Fields menu. As you can see, these items are associated with profile views. For right now, I'll click over here to close the menu, and then I'll select this text. Let's say that I would like my profile views to be named Profile View Number, and then I would like to add a counter. I'll click Insert. If we look down here, we can see that we can control the formatting of that number. Likewise, I can control the start number and the increment value in case I create multiple profile views. I will then add a dash, and then I would like the profile view to include the alignment name. So I'll select Parent Alignment, and I'll click Insert. I will then come down and click OK. We can see my desired naming convention right here. I'll click Create Profile View, and then I'll place one of these on screen. If I zoom in, we can see the name right there, Profile View Number 1-2nd Street. Now, this is nice, but wouldn't it be better if I could have this naming convention saved as part of my Civil 3D template? Then I'd never have to worry about naming the profile views. They would be named automatically. Fortunately, we can do that very easy by adjusting some Civil 3D settings. I'm going to press Ctrl-Z a couple times to undo to remove that profile view. And then we'll come over to the Settings tab here in the tool space. From here, I will right-click on Profile View, and I'll choose Edit Feature Settings. In this dialog box, we'll find a collection of settings that are associated with profile views. From here, I'll open Default Name Format, and in here I can see the default name template that applies to every command that allows me to name a profile view. I'm going to click in the Profile View Name Template field, and then I'll click the ellipsis button. This brings up the same dialog box we saw earlier. We'll use a slightly different name this time. I would like to start with the alignment name. I'll click Insert. And then I'll put a dash, profile, view, number, and then we'll add a counter. Maybe I'd like that to be formatted as 3 digits. We'll start with number 1, and I'll click OK. From now on, every profile view I create will conform to this naming convention by default. Let's click OK, and we'll create a new profile view. I'll launch the command again. I will select my desired alignment. You can see the new default name template here. Let's choose Create Profile View. And I will place this up above. And when I zoom in, we can see the name conforms to my new standard. Let's zoom out. We'll center the drawing on screen. At this point, you may be wondering if it's possible to apply a naming convention at the individual command level. And we can do that as well. Let's say that I'd like to create a surface profile for Main Street. To do that, I'll select the alignment, and then I'll come up and choose Surface Profile from the ribbon. In the dialog box, I'd like to use Main Street to sample the existing ground surface. Let's choose Add. Right here, we can see the default name that will be given to that profile. As you can see, it's not very logical. In fact, if I click in here and keep clicking, it's not going to let me change that name. It's going to make me complete this command and then go back and rename the profile afterward. Instead, let's cancel. I'll press Escape to deselect the alignment, and we'll edit the default naming convention used for this command. I'm going to come over and open the Profile category, and then I'll open the Commands folder. In here, we can see a listing of all of the commands associated with profiles. From here, I'll right-click on Create Profile from Surface, and I'll choose Edit Command Settings. In the dialog box, we'll find all of the settings specific to this command. I'm going to expand Default Name Format. I will then click in the Profile Name Template field, and then I'll click the ellipsis button. Let's say that whenever I create a profile from a sampled surface, I'd like the profile name to start with the alignment name. I'll click Insert. I'll add a dash, and then we'll add the sampled surface name. Notice some of the other choices that we have. I'll click Insert. I will set the starting number to 1 in the event I create multiple profiles. I will then click OK and OK. Let's do one more. Let's say that whenever I create a profile using the layout method, I'll choose Edit Command Settings, Default Name Format. I would like these profiles to be named using the alignment name -FG, because in most cases when I create a layout profile, it represents the finished ground. It's important to note that I'm only setting the default here. I could always change this suffix later when I run the command. FG just happens to be what I use most often. Let's click OK, and then I'll click OK. Finally, we can test our new settings. I'll start by sampling a surface profile. I'll select the Main Street alignment, and I'll choose Surface Profile. I'd like to use the Main Street alignment to sample the existing ground surface. Let's click Add. Right here, you can see that profile is getting a logical name. From here, I'll choose Draw and Profile View, create Profile View, and we'll place this profile view over to the side. Not only does this profile have a logical name, the profile view does as well. Let's create a layout profile now. I'll do that by selecting the grid. I'll choose Profile Creation Tools. Right here, we can see our new custom default naming template. This is perfect. Let's click OK. I will then select my desired drawing method, and we'll do one quickly from the endpoint here to the endpoint here. We'll close the dialog box. I'll drag this label down. And if I zoom in, we can see that the proposed profile also has a logical name. Now in this example, I used the naming template in conjunction with profiles and profile views. It's important to note that this workflow applies to every feature that we see over here in the Settings tab. Just imagine how much time you could save if every object you created was assigned a logical name automatically. When you get a chance, open your template drawing and review the default names assigned to the objects you create most often. By simply making a few adjustments, you can have Civil 3D name the majority of your design objects for you. You can also ensure that everyone creating content with your template is using the same naming convention. Would you like to explore other Autodesk infrastructure ideas and workflows? If so, please visit the Civil Immersion blog by scanning the QR code or by following the URL listed below.